Have you ever just stopped and wondered about the hidden gears turning in your own mind? I mean, really thought about it? How does something as simple as a flash of light or a faint sound turn into a full-blown conscious thought, complete with feelings and judgments? Well, today we're going to pull back that curtain and trace the exact architecture of a single thought, from the very beginning to the very end. So think about it like this. A flash of light hits your eye. And in less than a blink, you don't just see it, you recognize it, you react. You might even have a memory pop up. We're going to follow that entire journey, from that first bit of raw data all the way to a conscious experience. Okay, so the first thing we have to get our heads around is this really fundamental rule about how the mind works. A thought can't just float around in empty space. Every single moment of consciousness, and I mean every single one, has to have an object. It's got to be conscious of something. And that something has a name, an aramana, or a mental object. This is the anchor for every thought you have. It could be something external, like the color of the wall in front of you, or it could be something totally internal, like thinking about what you ate for breakfast. Without an aramana, a thought just can't happen. There's a really great analogy for this. Imagine a frail person who needs a walking stick just to stand up. The mind is kind of like that person. And the mental object, the aramana, that's the walking stick. The mind literally needs it to arise and to stand. It's leaning on that object for its very existence in that moment. So if the mind is always leaning on an object when it's actively thinking, what's it doing the rest of the time? When you're just sitting there, not really focused on anything. Well, it turns out your mind is never really off. It has a default state. And that default state is called bhavanga. You can translate it as the life continuum. The best way to picture it is as a silent, constantly flowing river of subconscious mind moments. It's like the baseline hum of your existence, just flowing along, carrying all the imprints of your past. It's what keeps you mentally online, even when you're in a deep, dreamless sleep. So this river of bhavanga is just flowing peacefully, one moment giving rise to the next, over and over. But our senses are always on, right? We're constantly being hit with information from the world. So what happens when a new sensation, a stone, let's say, gets tossed into this silent river? This is the moment everything changes. The interruption of that peaceful flow is the spark that ignites the entire process of conscious perception. The mind wakes up from its rest to deal with this new piece of information. And this happens in 3 incredibly fast, almost instantaneous micro-moments. First, contact. A sight, a sound, a smell hits one of your 5 sense doors. That immediately causes the river of bhavanga to vibrate for just a moment. And then, bam, the flow is cut off completely. The river stops, making way for a totally new sequence of thoughts. Okay, so the bhavanga stream is on pause. What happens now? Well, the mind kicks into a whole new mode. It becomes this lightning-fast cognitive assembly line, where raw sensory data gets taken in, processed, and turned into something meaningful. And it all happens in a series of distinct stages. So here's the roadmap for that assembly line. It starts with the mind just turning towards the sensation. Then it experiences it, receives it, investigates it, and finally determines what it is. Let's walk through each one. The first stop on the line is averting. This is super simple. The mind just turns its head, so to speak, towards the stimulus. If it was that flash of light, the mind just orients itself to the eye door. It's a pure, simple turn of attention. No judgment, nothing else. Right after that is the moment of pure sense consciousness. Now, this is just a flicker of raw seeing or hearing or feeling. There are no labels yet. No, oh, that's a blue car. It's just the raw data of blueness and shape hitting the mental sensor. It's pure perception. So once that raw data is captured, the next stage is simply to receive it. You can think of this as the loading dock of our little mental factory. The receiving mind moment literally catches that sense impression and holds onto it, getting it ready for the next step. And next up is quality control. The investigating mind moment takes a quick, automatic look at the data it just received. It's a brief examination, a preliminary sort, before the final decision gets made. This is the last stop on the initial processing line. The determining mind moment looks at all the data and makes a call. It identifies the object, basically saying, okay, this is what we're dealing with. And this stage sets the table for the most crucial part of the entire thought, the response. Now, here's something absolutely crucial. Everything we've seen so far, the river stopping, the turning, the seeing, the receiving, the investigating, All of that has been completely automatic. It's just a result of past conditioning. It's all been backstage work. But now we get to the main event, the psychological climax of the whole experience. 7. Remember that number. It's profoundly important because what happens next isn't just one moment. It's a rapid-fire succession of 7 incredibly powerful mind moments. These 7 moments are called javana, which means running. And this is where you come in. This is the active response. It's where the mind truly experiences the object. And most importantly, it's where moral choice happens. It's in these 7 little flashes that a thought becomes wholesome or unwholesome, skillful or unskillful. This is the moment karma, or volitional action, is actually created. Yeah, this really is the key takeaway. Up until Javana, the whole process is pretty much on autopilot. But right here, in this fleeting series of moments, this is the window for conscious choice. This is the fork in the road where you respond to that flash of light with greed or anger, or with wisdom and compassion. So after that psychological peak of the Javana moments, which are over in an instant, the whole event is done. The assembly line did its job. So what happens now? Does the mind just, hang on to the experience? Nope. It simply lets go. The entire cognitive process, from that first little vibration in the bhavanga to the final Javana moment, is just a single self-contained little packet of experience. Once it runs its course, its job is done. The mind is built for efficiency. It doesn't dwell. And just like that, the process is over, and the mind instantly drops right back into that silent, flowing river of bhavanga. It returns to its default state, totally serene, just waiting for the next stone, the next sight, the next sound, to disturb its surface and kick off the entire assembly line all over again. So there you have it, the architecture of a single thought. It's this breathtakingly fast and complex process, repeating itself thousands upon thousands of times a day without us even noticing. Which, leaves us with a pretty big question. If this is how your mind really works, in these discrete, impersonal flashes, what does it actually mean to be mindful of your own experience?